Welcome back. You're watching Standpoint here on Morning Prime. We continue pace with the conversation on looking on the way forward, even as we're headed towards the Supreme Court. What are some of the highlights that we should be knowing that will be battled out in the courts as well? We're to hear from Okongo Mogany before we took a short break. Okongo, let's just begin with you, especially on that particular tallying. I think we had Gladys and Wilson Sossion as agents. You were not there, but that failed. It has been established. It failed. We didn't get any valid reason why it really failed. Is it bigger question? Should also be a subject that can be steamrolled towards the Supreme Court?
I think all these issues that are emerging here, I have no doubt that they will be subject of serious arguments before the Supreme Court, especially the revelations. We are lucky that we have two people here, former Honorable Member of Parliament and Honorable Member, who are in Bomas. And I think there is a lot I'm getting this morning. I would like to join the dots. For example, I've heard Sossion saying that when returning officers were bringing Form 34As to Bomas, there was a tallying and verification that took place in Bomas. I would like to hear, once this matter goes to the Supreme Court, how far did that exercise go? Was that carried in the entire 290 constituencies? Because the word which is out there is that at some stage, what caused the differences with these other four commissioners is that Chebukati threw them out and took over the exercise, and that process that was open and participatory was brought to a halt, and then opaqueness stepped in, and that from some constituencies, that tallying and verification in the presence of the commissioners never took place. How true that is, of course, we are going to hear.
I can confirm.
And then again, I don't understand really what is the wisdom behind IBC failing to display the results on the screens as they were streaming in. I think the people who are in Bomas will confirm, and I also went there in the last day, can confirm that the results were not being displayed by IBC so that it's public. You know, the principles in Article 81 envisage an election that is open, that is transparent, where everything that is coming in can be consumed by the public. Really, there would be no good reason why you don't want the people in Bomas or even the public itself to see real time the results as they were being streamed in. So really, what explanation can IEBC give to Kenyans for taking away that very key element of a transparent and open, verifiable election? Those are the questions that ring through my mind, just to demonstrate that there was something fishy that was taking place in Bomas. And of course, as Farah says, there is no way you can declare votes that, in terms of figures, exceed the votes that were cast. That can never be possible. If you declare votes as IBC that exceed the votes that were cast, then you are not giving results that reflect the will of the people of Kenya, because it means that there are figures, to use the word cooking, there are figures that you have just cooked and added up. Because an election should have mathematical precision, Adibal. The votes that are cast, the votes that are spoiled, the votes that are rejected should give you a sum total that has a mathematical precision. It should be 1 + 1. And when you come to, giving the percentages, that should also have a mathematical precision. So without really demeaning teachers the way Dibala said, that even a standard 8 teacher, I know teachers who teach in class 8 are very, very bright people. They know the maths. Any Kenyan looking at the arithmetics should be able to give us figures that add up with a mathematical precision. If you raise doubts in that process, then it means that election cannot meet the principles that Kenyans have put in our constitution in Article 81. Finally, in the happenings in Bomas, Debal, if at the beginning, the way we have been told by Sosion and Gladys Boy-Cholet, if Chebukati had faith in his commissioners and he allowed them to invoke Article 138, sub-Article 3C, and participate in verification and the tallying of the elections, at what time did he think that their role was ceremonial and he kicked them away? So what I want to hear when this matter goes to the Supreme Court finally, did the commission tally and verify results from all the 40,000 plus polling stations in the country? Did that take place? Or what we have as a tallying and verification was a one-man show done by one Chebukati? I think that's the big question I may want to hear from the 4 commissioners, because for me, they are people appointed by Kenyans to do a task assigned to them per the Constitution. I would like to know from these 4 commissioners, really, the results that we received as Kenyans, were they results from the commission or they are results from the chairman called Chebukati? Those for me should be the big questions.
First of all, you're a lawyer, and if you read the law, it says that Chebukati was acting as the returning officer for the presidential election. This is not a commission decision. What Chebukati was doing is tallying the results from the returning officers of each and every polling station. The commissioners cannot decide that they are going to vote over our vote. We had already voted.
But you
Kenyans.
Told us.
No. Just
let her finish.
Just first of all, you must realize. So what he's saying is that this was not a commission decision where you need a quorum or you need a majority. This was that is why Chebukati is gazetted as a returning officer. The commissioners are not gazetted as returning officers. What they were doing is helping him execute his job. But the returning officer is Chebukati, not the 4 other commissioners.
What is the role of the other commissioners in this?
So there's no consensus on the tallying?
No.
Okay, it's a way.
What is the role of a commission?
Okay, let me explain to you.
Yes.
Even in the polling station, there is a returning officer and he has 6 clerks.
Yes. But
He
we don't know their names. They do not constitute any legal personality in there.
Why don't you do this? You have the Constitution. Can you cite for me where in the Constitution it says that the decision of the returning officer...
You see,
no, hold on, yeah. I want you to read for me the part of the law that says that the decision, the announcement by the returning officer of the presidential election has to be made by 7 commissioners or 8 commissioners.
Can I read for her?
Can I?
Hold on.
Okay.
Then,
Can we hear? You
let
can
me
challenge us.
No, I can read for you.
Go ahead and read.
I can read for you.
Yes, and then let's also
I can read for you the one you have asked.
the law already says that...
Can we read it?
Can we read
Gladys,
for you?
Then we continue.
You've
challenged our
You have challenged us.
You just asked
Yes.
a question.
Yeah.
Can
So
you
I want
allow
to read
somebody
for
to
you.
answer that
Okay, can you
question?
read it?
Can I read for you?
Okay, answer.
Proceed.
Yeah, now, Dibal.
You have the Constitution, Farah. You can refer as well.
Dibal, if you...
Read for
You
me
know
the
the-
part that says the
this is
commissioners
yours.
must vote.
He has his.
Yeah. If you read...
Read for me the part that says the commissioners must vote.
If you read the Constitution, and this is... It says...
Just read for us the...
It says, you know, when you interpret a Constitution, you read on the marginal notes first. So if you go to Article 38, 138 of the Constitution, the marginal note says, the procedure of presidential elections. The procedure
at
presidential elections. Now, if you go to 138.3c, it says, after counting the votes in the polling stations.
You said 138.
138.3c.
Yes, continue. You're right.
After counting the votes in the polling station, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission
shall tally.
You know the word used is mandatory. Shall
tally
and verify the count and declare the results.
Yes.
There is no word chairman used there. The word used is
Or returning officer.
IEBC.
Yes.
There is no
Yes.
word of chief returning officer used in that section of the Constitution. That's why you have heard from my two colleagues this morning. They have told you that the commissioners themselves were the ones who are involved in the tallying and
Yes.
verification.
And at some
Because
stage,
in the Constitution, that task is assigned to the commission and not to the chairman.
Yes.
And you know, for your information, the vice chair is gazetted as a deputy returning officer in presidential elections. So
Gazetted
that
as
if,
deputy.
yes, gazetted as deputy, so that
Why
if
is she
the
gazetted
why
if
is
she already had
gazetted
the
as
power?
deputy?
No, no,
Is that
no.
all?
I mean,
Why is she
How
being
can the
gazetted?
deputy
Please,
be
please.
gazetted as arrow,
we have done very
and
well
the chair
this.
is not an arrow?
We have done very well this morning. You know,
Let him finish, then
Yeah,
Glad
let-
stand.
let me
him
finish.
finish, then we go back to
let me
Gladys.
finish.
Hold on, you
let us
horses.
not be
No, just
No,
just
no,
hold
no,
on.
you know.
Don't latch on it. You love your time. You love your
Yeah.
time.
So
Let's-
the Constitution,
relax.
Libal, this is our supreme law, and you can see that this task is assigned to the commissioners.
Thank you. You've read it.
As the Constitution. Now,
Back to
the only
Gladys.
thing I want to say is
No, back to Gladys. You just read the Constitution.
No, he
Gladys.
reads the
I hope you've not lost your track of
because
thought.
now,
Just a moment. Let her finish. It was a time we interrupted her.
can I tie up my thoughts?
No, let him finish. Let him
He's
finish.
doing that.
He's just
see,
embarrassing
He's
himself.
educating everybody on
when
this thing.
Let him
when
talk.
when
Let him
the
talk.
when of
You will
course
get no. Just a moment. You'll get a
Go
chance,
ahead,
please.
go ahead.
now
Sorry.
Sosion.
Go ahead.
No, allow him. I'm allowing him to talk.
Yes,
been allowed.
so once the tallying is done, of course, the mouthpiece of the commission should be the chairman.
Absolutely.
So
Who the returning
I
officer is.
think you cannot walk to any court of law and tell the court that IBC is Chebukati and the Chebukati is
Is
IBC.
IBC, and that's
it,
it. No.
it cannot happen.
No.
There is no way a constitution can create positions of 7 commissioners
Yes.
and then you tell Kenyans that what the people of Kenya intended is to say these are flower girls, the only commission is me
Thank
as
you,
chairman.
thank you.
I can give you an example. Even when I go to the Supreme Court, it has 7 judges, the Chief Justice presiding. When you argue a matter and you have a decision of 4 against 3,
The chief,
if the Chief Justice is on the other side, all the people will read the judgment. But at the end, even when she is not agreeing, she will say now,
dissenting, yeah.
even if I have dissented, the decision of the court is this, which I now communicate.
Absolutely.
By majority,
Absolutely.
this petition is either allowed or dismissed. A Chief Justice cannot sit and say the Supreme Court was created to have 7 judges, but in the Constitution, when you see the word Supreme Court, it
I'm the
means
president.
the Chief Justice.
Who is the
That
president?
can never be the case.
Thank you.
Dibal.
All right, Gladys. So he's
the-
made it very crystal from the Constitution. It is her time. We'll
Yeah.
come to you. So you want to continue from there because you challenged Farad with that particular portion.
Yes. Okay. So what you must first of all, I said that the commissioners were what was happening in Bomas was a tallying. It was not decisions. It was the tallying. We were adding 1 + 1 + 1. What Bomas was doing was confirming that we had got that whoever presidential candidate had 50 + 1, and also had 25% of the from I don't know how many
Counties.
from
At least 24
constituencies.
counties.
Yeah, constituencies. That was all. So there was no recounting of votes. The decision of the commission actually is not required at that stage in Bomas. The decision had already been made by the people in the polling station. If you remember my speech during our last rally in Nyayo Stadium, what I told people is the server ni nyinyi kwa polling station. Yes? The decision
I'm lost.
is viewable at the polling station. Right? So I don't know why he thinks we needed the input of the commissioners.
But the question is...
No, but I know. The law says we have 1 returning officer. That is Chebukati. He was gazetted as a returning officer for a purpose. Even the people announcing at the constituencies are actually election managers hired by the IEBC. They are permanent staff. But the law requires them to be gazetted as returning officers. It's a special task you're given for that purpose.
But I wanted just to get
because
clarity.
if it was the commission,
Thank you,
why do
Gladys.
we gazette them?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's given he's the returning officer.
Yes, he's the returning
but
officer.
What is the build-up now to
So,
this
and
decision
then-
by the returning
no, no,
officer?
but
Does it
even-
not really involve
No,
other
but
commissioners?
even talking about the renegade commissioners who decided to walk away, they cannot lie to Kenyans that they were not involved, because you saw them on national television. No less than 50 media houses were in Bomas, including international media houses. They were there. They saw them participate and be involved. It's on TV.
But they've said as well that, all along it was going swimmingly until the tail end of it.
Yes.
So we were not really also privy to what were some of the plenary sessions they had, because media was not really invited in some of those plenaries.
Dibal, you will get to learn soon enough what led those commissioners to behave the way they behaved. Kenyans will know very soon. Because they cannot say that they have to be told what the figure was. You can't, it is not their decision to announce. What was being announced is what Kenyans had announced at the polling station. So if I have a video clip, which I do, of every announcement in every polling station, I have a picture of every Form 34A from every polling station sent to us by our agents. Then we have the one that was in the portal. And we have what the returning officer brought. So in fact, when we were checking the results, we were not consulting the commissioners. We were checking what was brought by the returning officer. Correct. Who is the commissioner here? So by the way, Cherare and her group should know they don't vote on our behalf. We had already voted in the polling station. Yeah. So are you telling me they decide how I voted?
But
I voted in my polling
I
station.
still want you to answer my question, because I'm asking you, leading up to the returning officer, which is given by the constitution that Chebukati is, right? What really builds up, for him ultimately making that decision at the end of the day? Are they not really working in concert? And this is not Chebukati who's playing like a maverick, that the decision he makes is not also in concert with the other commissioners.
Chebukati was doing his job because it says that the chairman shall tally and announce.
Yes.
That's what it says.
No, that's given. I've said that's okay, but he's doing his job. But does he do without the concert of other commissioners?
Yes. That's the question.
Is there a build up to this particular decision?
Yes.
No, I'm asking Gladys, please. I'll come to you. Gladys.
Yes.
That's a question that I'm asking.
No, I'm also limited in what I can say here, because some of the things I want to say, which will clear your mind, are some of the responses we are going to make to their petition.
Okay.
So I'm actually waiting for 2 o'clock this afternoon. Okay. I will not sleep tonight because I will be reading their petition. Then we shall respond, because I don't want to respond to certain things.
To preempt.
Because I have my response. But I can confirm to you, Chebukati, in announcing the results, is not acting as the commission. He's acting as the returning officer. It's a different job. Just the way the person who announced the results in a constituency is not acting as the constituency elections manager.
So returning officer is not a commission.
Sorry, is not the
Is not a commission.
That is why we have, the IEBC has a constituency elections manager in all the constituencies in the country. But for election purposes, they are hired as a returning officer. That is why it is gazetted.
All right.
It's a different job.
Thank you, Gladys. Sassion.
Yeah, I think, Dibal, let us simplify this argument and this discussion so that we don't confuse Kenyans. We must communicate.
These guys are clutching at straws.
Very, very clearly. And don't clutch on straws, hoping to get things differently. What Asimi are trying to seek is to try and understand the processes that went on in Bomas through the Supreme Court. I don't think that's the business of Supreme Court. If you didn't do your homework right, so that you clearly understand the processes that took place at Bomas, then the Supreme Court is not going to change the mathematics. And looking at the role of the IBC and that of Chebukati and commissioners, I don't think we were in an administrative business of the commission. Because look at what Cherer and group, they quoted a provision of the law that really requires them to take decisions during administrative businesses. But the elections is not an administrative function of the commission. It's already an exercise where a returning officer has been appointed across all polling stations and across all tallying centers, including national. It's very clear. Chebukati was a national returning officer. And what went on in Bomas, we all saw with our eyes. And Chebukati said very clearly, open the servers, open the portal. All the Form 34As are in the portal. Download and add. So that it is as simple as that, Debal. So that we don't go arguing, looking for literature and words of who should have done what at where. But the question is, are the mathematics correct? The Forms 34As in the portal, did you, as Asimio, download every form and did the tallying? Because even when you argue that, the display board at the Bomas at some point refused to work, it can fail, it cannot work. The law does not really explicitly state that.
Honorable Sosion, I think it's important for you to know something. What happened in Bomas? They switched off the electricity. We were operating on generator.
On generator.
Yes.
So you still have power.
A lot of
power.
Yes, but we stopped for the changeover. So that happened.
So what does the
in
changeover
Bomas.
have to do with?
And I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that's how much sabotage they attempted.
Thank you, Gladys.
But even if it was a genuine, power outage, you'll actually take it as a sabotage. Gladys.
Debal.
It is, of course. They even refused to give us Bomas.
Debal.
Give you what?
No, Debal was
Okay.
interjecting.
It's far in the show. It's far in
So
the
let
show.
us not
Just
lunge
yeah.
on straws and try to pick issues that are not even legal nor constitutional to support an argument that does not work. The bottom line of this election is, Chebukati said very clearly, the Form 34As are in the portal, you can download and add. And that we did it.
Thank you.
They did not do it.
All right, thank you.
They
You made
are
a point.
still
You made a
not very
point.
clear about what went on. And this argument of Cherera, the other commissioners not being involved with the mathematics, and they were involved in clearing every Form A to the last constituency. We were to the last constituency.
All right,
And
thank
those maths we have on every table. We have ourselves the math.
Thank you, Sosion.
Even if it goes to the Supreme Court or whatever court, the numbers are never going to change.
Even the
It will
Supreme
remain.
Court cannot count our votes.
The Supreme Court cannot change the Form 34A. It can't change. And what Chebukati can do as a returning officer, and this is where Debal, let me ask, what is the role of a returning officer in an election? Once tallying is done and numbers are given to him, the role is very clear for Chebukati. Announce within 7 days. The Constitution is clear that the returning officer, the chair of IEBC, it doesn't say the commission.
Thank you.
It says the chair of IEBC shall declare the results within 7 days. That is the Constitution.
That's
Right.
So
Farah
let us
Maalim,
not
thank you.
engage in
Thank you,
fishing
thank you,
expedition.
thank you.
Omogeni and the rest.
So
You are
the
engaging in
issue is
a
not
fishing
really also
expedition.
about just the tallying and the final numbers. It's how we go to this tallying and the process itself.
Yeah.
So we might really never gaze on the tallying and the numbers, but
Absolutely.
how did we culminate? How did we arrive to these particular figures finally? Because
From the Form 34A.
all right, let's hear from Farah.
You see, the courts are there to try and cure a mischief. The mischief in this case is that the Form 34As that were uploaded on the portal from many constituencies in Central and Rift Valley do not reflect the voting pattern in that place. And this is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. It reflects that there are more people on the presidential Form 34A than is reflected on all other electoral offices in there. Now, what is the role of the commission in there? Is to try and verify some of these things and call a returning officer and say, why is it that in this stream, this polling station, 680 people voted for the presidency, but for all other offices, only 600 voted. Where is this additional 80 votes from? You understand my point? Because there's a mischief by certain returning officers to upset the final results. What Kenya Kwanza is saying is that, no, don't listen to anything else. Don't verify as a commission. Don't do anything, just look at those which is uploaded on the portal in there and add up those numbers. We're saying those numbers do not add up. In another mathematics, the other mathematics is basically whether the same people, the numbers that voted for the governor and senator and MCA and MP are the same number that voted for the president. You can't have somebody walking in there and only voting for one person without taking these other ballot papers into another, either whatever, I don't know. Remember that matter was very, very primary in the annulment of the election before that. Let me tell you also something else. She's a lawyer, he's a lawyer. A cardinal principle in law and in constitutional making is what was in the mind of the framers of that particular provision in the Constitution. That particular. We used to have in this country somebody who was called the supervisor of elections, and it was called Montgomery. I don't know if you remember that. Montgomery. Yeah, some of you are probably too young to remember that. For you can never remember because you're never born that time. He was only one guy. Only one guy was the supervisor of the elections. We changed it from that into a commission. Why? Because you do not want to vest those excessive powers in the hands of only one person. You want to invest, what do you call that excessive powers in the hands of an institution called a commission here. Law is express, it's also implied. There is the implications, and that's why I'm telling you what was it there to cure. The constitution of this country in 2010 is just the other day. The mother of all constitutions, the American Constitution, when you look at it, you have to read all those Federalist papers. You went to school in some of those places that she understands. You really have to see what was there in the minds of Adams and Jefferson and all those people who have different minds and see what they were trying to cure. We were trying to cure that unilateral decision by just one individual. And the Constitution here says the commission shall tally. So don't tell me that because you have another provision of the Constitution that says these things are read in tandem. You don't just you don't cherry pick and read something in isolation and say, oh, that's what it says in this, and just stick to that. No, he cannot take that unilateral decision. It's a commission. For me, because the rule of law is sanctified. I mean, it's sacrosanct. The moment there was that criminal intent. The moment that there was that criminal intent of saying that there's a conspiracy to thwart or rather to upset the will of the people, the director of CID, DCI should have come in there, put the 7 commissioners in 7 different rooms and find out if some of them were trying to thwart it. If the 4 of them, if the 4 commissioners actually were there as agents of Azimio.
Yes.
Or if Chipukati was an agent there of the other side, and get them to record statements. Because these people worked as a corporate. And here they were, all of them basically pointing fingers at one another. And that way, they then secure the assets, including the server and everything, and carry out a parallel investigation on exactly how those things were done. The claims, don't just leave it to the Supreme Court. And if you find a presiding officer,
thank you.
Listen to me carefully. I just want you to, because sometimes the problem we have with the media people is that while you are explaining something, they're not listening to you. That they're thinking about the next question. Just
I'm listening. I knew that was coming.
And then you pick up, 7, 10, 20 presiding officers and tell them, why is there this serious disparity? And I read them in court. Because seriously, this country has got to be a country of laws. And nobody's above the law. Nobody above the law, including the president, by the way. Nobody's above the law. So if that criminal intent is on the part of Chipukati, we send him to hell. If it's on the part of the 4 commissioners who are there as agents of a contesting, entity in there and want to thwart the will of the people of Kenya, through that investigation, you can arrive at that. Right now, we don't have to argue about anything ourselves. There are only 2 things here. Only 2 things. One that says that returning officers from Central Kenya and Rift Valley were compromised, and basically what they did is that what is reflected in the other 5 officers is not reflected in the presidential, and there's an adding up. What do you call a padding of the presidential? As long, the moment the Supreme Court is able to prove that, and the lawyers are able to prove that, and then look at the materiality, the matter is dead. It's finished. It's a closed chapter.
Right.
You know,
And that's basically...
Thank you.
Just
Now,
1 minute before I just allow me a minute.
Can I just give 1 minute?
Allow me a minute. You know, Farah, you are speaking as if there was a decision on the number of votes that was supposed to be made by the commission. No. What was happening in Bomas is confirming that the Form 34A is the same one that was announced from the polling station. Actually, in Bomas, we could not amend the Form 34A. According to the law, Form 34A can only be amended by the Supreme Court or impeached by the Supreme Court.
So enough, that's why we're in the Supreme Court now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, for you people to think
we don't have to
that that we needed the 4 commissioners to be able to make a change on the result, no. The result was already announced.
Thank you.
Voting happened in the polling station. Counting happened at the polling station.
How
The announcement did happen at the polling station. So therefore, don't expect that in Bomas there was supposed to be a change. So in fact, without the commissioners, we just need the Form 34A.
Thank you.
And we announced the
All right.
result.
Let me come to Kongo Mogeni.
That should be made very clear.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, Debal, you know, it's good to understand the architect of our constitution. And let's not come here and, portray to Kenyans that commissioners play no role in presidential elections. Because we want to mislead Kenyans. You know, you asked Gladys a very simple question. What role do the commission play in a presidential election? And she told you she doesn't want to give you answers because that's the response in court. But these are general questions that you can tell Kenyans. The architecture of the constitution is like this. A presiding officer will supervise the casting of votes at the polling station. Yes. And the presiding officer will count the votes and announce the results at the polling station. Now, there is a very key role that the commission plays through these 7 commissioners. The one you had, the 2, the gentleman and lady were telling you, honorable members, who are doing at Bomas. The one of receiving the results from the polling station and tallying, which is a very key procedural aspect in a presidential election. The person who needs to confirm the figures, Debal, is the commission. Because once the voting is done and announcement done at the polling station, the results are sent over to the commissioners in Nairobi. Now, at the tally, if the Supreme Court is not satisfied on a balance of probability that the tallying and verification was... What is tallying? Tallying entails receiving results from all the polling station by the commission, then they do the additions from all the polling stations in the country. That is the tallying. Then they agree, say, we have now gone through all the polling station, this is our tally, and these are the results that the chairman should announce. That is not a process that you can wish away, Debal. If it transpires in court that the commission never undertook this exercise, that's a good ground to impeach the election. Because you cannot tell us that Cherera and other commissioners cannot vote for you. They are not voting for you. What they are doing is to confirm that the returns from all the constituencies in Kenya have not been manipulated.
Yes.
There has been no fraud.
If there's a discrepancy, they call it out. They call it out before it's announced.
The task is on the commissioners to say what was declared at the polling station and what we are trying to tally does not add up.
Absolutely.
So we will not announce it. And you cannot tell the Kenyans
and what
that
Shona is telling you is that just take that as gospel truth.
No.
And the rest of it, argue it out in Supreme Court. No. The commissioners will tell you, if so many voted for the governor, why is it that we have a bigger number who voted? Just a moment. You see, the commission has a responsibility, or the commissioners, to summon that, what you call presiding officer, or the returning officer, and question this disparity before it's released. You see, the Constitution here, the Constitution, can I just finish? The Constitution, you've been talking the whole day and I've been watching you all. Look, this Constitution here says that you cannot sacrifice substantive justice because of technicalities and procedural matters. Justice has got to be served at the end of the day. The winner who won because he has the numbers cannot be told, no, there was a bit of this, but then you can go to Supreme Court. You cannot question this. You get my point? So that essentially is the centerpiece of our law right now. Because
Thank you.
when we're trying to cure this thing through this new constitution, it's because so many Kenyans suffered because of procedural matters, you know what I mean, and technicalities. Substantive justice was never delivered. Now we want to see substantive justice at that level. Why subject the whole country into that process of Supreme Court when the commissioners can call out and do their job right, get the numbers right, and announce the person who has got it, who has won the elections, instead of one of them only taking this unilateral decision like Montgomery, who was the supervisor of elections in Kenya those early days during Kenyatta's time, and the first Kenyatta I'm talking about. No, this thing has been cured through a commission, and the commission has got to do its role.
Thank you, Farah. Let's hear
You
from
know, you interrupted me, so
you're not finished.
I'm not. You just interrupted me.
I hijacked it
This
from
is
him.
not
Yeah,
a show for
It's
my take.
he was argumenting your
Yes.
point.
I hijacked it from him.
This is my chance, Dibal. I mean,
Okay, let me.
you know,
let
me,
him, I'll give you more time.
Yes,
I
you know,
promise.
Dibal,
You see,
me,
these two are
me,
pastors,
you have called,
oral people. And they're warriors. So please protect yourself.
you know,
You are a pastoralist
in a very
yourself as well.
simple, in a very simple way. I'm trying
notorious
to
pastoralist.
interpret the
right.
constitution to Kenyans, so that Kenyans understand what this country is going through. Now, you are told that Chebukati is the person who is tasked with presidential elections and all this. But if you go to again, Article 81, the principles, what are the side notes there? General principles for the electoral system. If you read the Constitution, Article 81, E sub Article 3, the person who has been tasked with conducting election is IEBC. Again, there is no...
As a corporate entity.
As a corporate entity.
Precisely.
There is no name chairman. It does not tell you conducted by the chairman of IEBC.
Who is the
It talks about conducted by an independent body, which is IEBC. And IEBC constitutes the commissioners and the staff. So there is no way you can go to court and say commissioners have no role in conducting presidential elections. Because the elections, the general principles of the electoral system is that the elections must be conducted by an independent body,
Yes. Thank you.
which is IBC.
Not-
All right, let's
And
hear
then
from Sosyon.
finally, just to address my friend here,
Transparent also.
he says that we are clutching on straws, we are just looking at process. I want to invite you. Yeah, I agree. With humility, I agree. But I want to invite him. I've done record in my career as a lawyer. I've done more than 14 election petitions. And you cannot walk to a court of law and tell the court that we don't care about the process.
Yeah.
Look at the figures. This is 7 million, this is 6. The court is very much keen to look at the process.
Absolutely.
The process, and the process includes what you read at the polling station,
Thank you.
how you send it to Nairobi,
You made your point.
how
You've
the
made your point.
tallying
Thank you,
is
thank you,
done,
thank you, thank
and
you.
how the announcement is done. And the
Just
Dibal,
touch me a second. You've made your point.
yeah, I'm just closing my thoughts. And Dibal, the
Your
other
close is
process,
really
the
forthcoming.
other process,
Yeah.
the other process that is very important
When you are inviting us,
is
tell us that this show belongs to
verification.
Mogeni,
If
so
you
that we
cannot
don't-
verify, if you cannot undertake verification
Don't let
in an election,
yeah, you can see
then
that
there is
Sosyon
no
is
process.
really flying off the
Sosyon,
handle.
We leave it to you.
Yeah.
Sosyon.
Dibal, I think there has to be balance of time in terms of debating. Those are
Put your
ground
timer
rules of any
on.
show. And
You're more time
But
than
you
anybody.
cannot
Now-
accuse us of time.
Really?
We're giving you the lion's share of time.
Yeah.
Sosyon.
Look at your watch.
Just continue.
now,
I'll come with
getting
my bell
down
next
to this
time, I
matter,
promise.
it's not rocket science. The process at Bomas was not rocket science, and it could not be done in secrecy. The national tallying is done in the presence of agents. It is done in the presence of agents. And that is the ultimate last point. So really talking about the commission sitting to decide on the results is very strange and way out of this world. We were not at Bomas as agents, as flower girls, just to verify numbers, then allow the commission
be flower
to
boys
take any
too.
other decision. No, we were at the table. Yes, flower girls and flower boys. I think we were there. We verified Form 34A from every polling station. And I would like to remind my good friend Farah that The law is very clear, and the ruling of the Supreme Court in 2017 was very explicit that the tallying at the polling station is final and binding. So there are no results we are entertaining, that we are creating new figures at the national level. Now, as to the working
81.
of the commissioners, yes,
Article
it's
81.
final at the polling station. So when you tell us that in Rift Valley, there are more votes for the presidential,
Article
and in
81.
Central, there are more votes for presidential, that is now absolute pure fishing expedition.
Yes.
What had to happen at the polling station? Count the votes for the presidential and declare them. They were declared. They were signed by your agents in those particular stations. There is no Form 34A that was not signed by your agents in Rift Valley, in the whole of the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
And it's good I was an agent, Dibal. And all these forms were duly signed, and is what we checked and we verified for all the 46,000 polling stations, not leave alone constituencies. And all this we were verifying in the presence of all these commissioners, together with the chair.
Yes.
And that is the work the commissioners and the chair were supposed to undertake. There was no other work beyond that.
Okay,
And so the commissioners had, the chair and the commissioners had the privilege to oversee the verification process. And it actually was not a verification process. It was a forensic audit. So this is one election where a forensic audit was conducted, and you could see the impatience of Kenyans waiting for results for a whole 1 week.
All right.
A whole 1 week.
in fact,
And once that had been done,
Yeah.
Debal, once that had been done, and the mathematics were clear, and Cherera and group, you can see they're operating in error. When they're talking about 0.01% being 140%.
You made your point. You made your point. Yeah, you don't need to belabor that.
No.
You know,
So
from the top of the
absolutely.
yes. Because of time.
On this one, not because I was an agent of Kenya Kwanza or anything, in terms of competency and doing things right and announcing the results, Chebukati announced the correct results that we all verified with their agents.
Thank you. Gladys.
And what will be very important as the Supreme Court is for Azimio to demonstrate that the figures that were announced by Chebukati is different from what was verified together with the commission.
Thank you.
You know what?
We'll come too far. Yes.
So really, we don't need to confuse Kenyans and waste time. In every election, we must move to the Supreme Court. It's okay. Let us move there. And I think what Azimio are looking for is telling the numbers, which they seem very confused.
Thank you, Sosyon.
Not to understand. However much you argue literally, you cannot argue over maths.
Thank you.
Numbers are numbers. They will total up to a given figure. And the fact is, and from what we total from the portal of IEBC, it totaled to exactly what Chebukati announced.
Thank you.
Yes.
And anybody can add.
Thank you, Gladys.
Yeah, I think, you know what, that's why I look at it and I feel even more sorry for Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has people around him who don't tell him the truth.
Yes.
And who lie to him.
And they're misusing
What
it.
of the, you know, this picking at straws,
How do
you know, I've listened to Farah and I've listened to Senator Mogeni. They are clutching at straws on what they can do to impeach the result. But you must remember, when you go to the Supreme Court, you must impeach each and every Form 34A.
Yes.
Also,
Willing to
when
do that.
you say that okay, let me even agree with your argument.
Yes.
That IEBC, that the commissioners, a body of the 7 commissioners, are the ones who are supposed to tally the results. Let's agree with that. The question is, why do they announce the result? Or what are they doing when they are tallying? Their only job is to tally in Bomas, right? Let's assume it is their corporate job. Their job is to tally, and for what purpose are they tallying? They are tallying to confirm 50 plus 1.
25%.
They are tallying
25%.
for the purpose of the 25%. They are not tallying to create a new
figures.
result.
A new
the
results.
figure is the one at the
Polling station.
which is Form 34A. And I still remember, you have used the word forensic audit. I remember at some point, the commissioner had to explain to us and say, we are not here to do a forensic audit.
Correct.
He says your job is to confirm that what you have on the returning officer has brought is what is on the portal, and it's also what is your agents gave you. You understand? So your agents,
yes.
What you receive from agents. He says, and if you find there is a problem, you should list down the errors. And they said, as a commission, they are required by law to produce an audit of the errors, a report, and give it to the Supreme Court. So that is what was happening in Bomas. So if people think, do not mislead Kenyans and make them assume we created new figures. In Bomas. Even I remember at some point when I was being accused of stealing votes in Bomas, I told them, you don't steal in Bomas. It has to happen at the polling station. You can't do it in Bomas.
All right.
Let me finish what I'm saying. So all this misinformation that is being given on this issue should be corrected. And I want to take you back to what Justice Njoki Ndungu said in one of her judgments. She says, once the Constitution gives citizens the right to vote, the freedom to choose, and the conditions are provided, it is not for the business of the court to aid the idolent. So if Azimio did not have agents, or they had people who came for showbiz at Bomas, that is their problem. Yeah. Then also, and that's what I'm saying, Raila Odinga is being lied to. Also, I saw the other day they were talking about the fact, they were trying to say that they want a recount, and that they would and the court gives that power. The court gives the power to the court to recount the votes.
The Constitution gives power.
The Constitution gives power. So let's make this straight. The Constitution itself says that if the court invalidates the result, then within 60 days, we must have a rerun. Yeah. It does not give us room to recount or whatever. But in the subsidiary legislation, subsidiary to the Constitution, it says that the court has the power to order a recount. And let me read for you so that people don't continue lying to Raila Odinga. It says that if the Supreme I've told you that the Supreme Court says that you order a recount, but it goes on to say that, let me just give you that one.
Recount, yes.
I have it here because I did an opinion on it. What it says also is that it basically, the elections, it provides that the court can actually declare a winner.
Yes.
That's not the Constitution. This is the subsidiary legislation.
Yes.
It says can order it.
Yes.
But it also says this is, however, it is subject. It is subject to the other side not having committed an election offense.
Yes.
So you are lying to Raila. Tell him the option of being declared a winner by the Supreme Court is not available to him. Why? It is subject to you not having committed election offenses. And Raila Odinga committed election offenses from here to Timbuktu. His people, just the fact that Saitabao, his chief agent, went on stage through caused chaos, that his own agents strangled Chebukati. His own agents actually attacked with a knife the commissioners. Those are election offenses. Let's forget about the other election offenses of having Professor Kobia standing on top of Martha Karua's campaign vehicle. Let us forget the words that were said by Musheru, which are also election offenses, because those are things that they did at the, the fact that they use public resources. Is that a matter now that the courts determine? No, I'm just saying.
Yes, because you're preempting for the courts, Gladys.
No, I'm not preempting for the courts. I'm reading the law, which the courts will also read, because they don't have another law to read. They are reading the same one I'm reading. So what I'm saying is, don't lie to Raila Odinga that he can be declared winner by the Supreme Court. That option is not available to him because of the election offenses committed not only during the process of the election, but also election offenses committed in Bomas of Kenya in front of live television throughout. So please don't lie to Raila.
So
Raila Odinga, I am asking you, that option is not available to you. Mr. Prime Minister, sir, you're being lied to by your people.
So what you're trying to establish is the fact that both sides of the spectrum, they have to be squeaky clean for the courts maybe
Yes,
to
yes,
have
you must
that
go to clean
discretion?
hands. Yes.
Yes, so that we can actually move on and say that now we can demand for a tallying.
Yeah, so one, his agents have lied to him who are in Bomas.
Recount.
Number
It's
two,
not tallying. Recount.
no,
All right.
he doesn't.
Okay.
No, but the recount.
The courts can order a recount
Yeah.
and declare the winner as the winner.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but
And
No,
that
no.
is what worries.
Yeah, they don't want that.
No,
When
no,
we
no,
go
no,
to
no.
that.
No, it says,
Hang on a
it
minute.
says a
Dubai,
that is
recount
a-
can be had.
Yes.
It says
Dubai.
a recount can be done
Yes.
and the declaration made,
Yes.
but it is conditional to the other side not having committed an
electoral offense.
And he has committed election
no,
offenses
no,
from
no.
here to heaven.
That is
No,
your
I
imagination.
think,
Because they never got convicted.
okay,
Can I
let's
talk?
hear from Farah.
Can I say?
No, even the fighting.
Yes.
So, you know, Ledama helped our case by him
Hang on a minute,
walking
hang on.
around with a knife
Hang on a
and
minute.
cutting commissioners
Hang on a
and
minute.
attacking
But-
people.
But
He's-
that is still a matter under investigation.
It's not under investigation. Doesn't like
Dibal, no,
Watching it, I didn't see it.
Dibal, you know,
Just a moment.
no.
We're going to sequence it.
Dibal, if you
just a
allow,
moment.
if you allow some of these things to be on this show, you should tell us to bid goodbye to this show.
No, no.
You know, you can't
Can I
come here
just-
and make
No, no.
some,
I'll give you a chance.
some of these allegations. Really, we are lawyers. You cannot use a media station to character assassinate people
Hang on.
on a
Well,
show.
I
like
character
this.
Hang on a minute.
assassinate.
It's not
By
right.
the way,
I'm not
by the way.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him come to you, Farah.
It's not right. You know, let's we are three of us. The fourth
When
guy
you
is
demonize
a
Jefferson,
former
just a moment.
is a former member of parliament. You know, when you come here and say that a senator was walking with a knife cutting commissioners
We saw him.
on a radio show on a matter that even the police have not picked up. You know,
It's been reported to the police.
It is
But
not.
it's a matter under
It's not
investigation.
right.
It's been reported.
Dibal.
to the
It's not.
Dibal.
Also,
It's
Gladys,
not
it could be
right.
reductive
Yeah,
to say
it's
that.
not
Dibal.
right.
Your
Honorable
media
Member said,
station, this media
Dibal.
station
Right.
covered it.
Dibal. It's my time.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
my
give you
time.
time. We'll give you time. Gladys.
This media station covered it, and I have no apologies to make for saying it
That's fair.
because it was on
That's
live
fair.
What we've
television.
established just a moment
The
is the fact
violence
that this
was
is
seen.
under investigation. Can we just leave it
No,
for the
no,
police
I
to
saw the
establish?
knife. What is there to investigate?
Hang on a minute.
So the knife could be, yeah, but did he cut anyone?
No,
it could
Dibal.
be
Yes,
only
he
a knife,
did.
yeah.
Dibal,
We've
Dibal.
not seen any
No, no,
blood
no.
being...
No commissioners.
Just a
No
moment.
commissioner.
All right, just a moment.
He
just a
attacked
moment.
my
All
former
right,
bodyguard.
all right.
I
Can we
know
have-
that for
all
a
right,
fact.
thank you.
We've gone into side
Just a
shows
moment,
now.
just a moment.
We've gone into side shows.
Can we hear from Okongwu
No, it was
Mogini?
me. It was
Yeah,
my
now-
turn.
You'd finished?
No, I've not even said anything, so I don't know what to do this
But
morning
yeah.
because.
Oh, what do you mean? All right.
Yeah, it was my turn.
Yeah, it was
And then
your
again, he'll come up to me. Basically, you know, Dibal, Article 81 of the Constitution. The electoral system shall comply with the following many principles, yeah? It says, conduct free, following principles. Freedom of that, not more than 2/3, the rest of it continue. And then it says, free and fair elections, which are by secret ballot, conducted by an independent body, transparent, and administered in an impartial, neutral, efficient, accurate, and accountable manner. Accountable manner. That is the role of the commission. Everything has got to be accounted for. You cannot say that a mischief has been committed, so wait until you go to the Supreme Court to argue out that one and then call for a rerun or call for whatever else. What we are saying, the difference in, I don't know, you must have picked and Kenyans have picked. What we are saying is that there was a mischief by certain returning officers from certain, what they call constituencies or certain polling stations and in central Kenya and in Rift Valley. That the numbers that they allocated to William Ruto are not right. These commissioners are saying, let us counter check and verify whether they are right or not. Chebukati is saying, no, we just get from the portal, we will tally that, and that's what we're going for. And they're saying, no, there is a disparity. There is more votes for this and less votes for this, and this is an indication that there was a mischief. And then he unilaterally takes over the whole place and did what he did.
Were you there?
Just a moment. Yeah, all Kenyans were there. We all watched it.
Let him
what he
finish,
did.
Gladys.
Now, what we're going to do right now is that ours is here. We're trying to educate Kenyans on exactly what happened and what's likely to come. But the reality of the matter is that the court is going to handle this. The courts will have the options of one, ordering for a recount. And when a recount is going to be done, it's going to be done on 46,000 polling stations, bit by bit, and every box will be opened.
Conditional to?
Hang on a minute. every box will be open. I don't know why Gladys is worried about these boxes being open.
No, I'm not worried.
Because you're worried about that. If you won fairly, that should not worry
I
you.
don't have a problem, but I'm just saying it's
Hang
not
on
an
a minute.
option available
Don't run
to
to the
Raila
conditions.
Odinga.
Don't run to the conditions. You should just say, fair enough, open up the boxes
All right.
and tally them, and we're sure that... hang on a minute, let me just finish. We are confident that we have won these elections. No, that is not what the other side, Kenya Kwanza, is saying. Kenya Kwanza is saying, looking for areas. For example, Ledama, or whoever you want to say, committed an electoral offense, was not an agent of Azimio.
You're responsible for the actions of your
All
supporters.
right, just a moment.
by law.
We need to take a short break right now. We need to take a short break, Farah. Yeah, we can slake our thirst a bit.
This thing
we
is
circle back. But when we come
dusted.
back, we come to
It's done and dusted, and it will be ratified, and a new person is going to be declared as the president.
Okay.
So let's continue.
When we come
We
back,
can
it's
make
your
all
turn.
the noise here.
You'd finished just a moment. Then I want us also to broach the issue of Chebukati now nullifying, not really nullifying, but actually postponing this election in Kakamega and Mombasa as it is right now. Kachaliber and Rongai. We've had, was it within the remit of Chebukati alone to postpone these elections? Because also the commissioners, they're taking special umbrage with that as well. So did he really overplay his hands? We circle back with that.
He has been overplaying all along.